Hi, I'm Mike. Good morning and welcome to Siberia. We're starting out here in the shop today. It is minus 36 degrees outside. The wind chill this morning was minus 57, but that doesn't stop things from happening here on the ranch. So stick around. Cold weather. Well, I even say cold. It's not even cold. It's freezing temperatures going on outside. And that's today on Our Wyoming Life. Alrighty, like I said, it's cold outside. Temperatures horrible. I don't even know what the low temperature was last night. All I know, it was just super cold. We're starting out here in the shop, but that doesn't mean we have to go outside and get some things done here. There's a few chickens that have figured out things are a little warmer here in the sale barn, but basically, with the weather today, nobody's really going to go outside. Of course, the cows have a shed to get into. Here's another chicken. Hey, kiddo. You're the smart one. But we get started over here in the barn where we've got our barn animals closed up. We're going to kick on the lights here for them. And obviously, I don't think they're going to want to go outside today, which is not a good thing for them. They want to go outside every single day, but as we take a look in here, everybody's looking pretty happy. We've got our donkeys in here, Ethel and Gus. Gus has his blanket on because he's a little bit thin-skinned. Our Australian native emus, which is probably a little bit of shock for them, but they are hanging out. You can see them, they're shivering just a little bit, but they're doing okay here in the barn. I am going to kick on some heaters here in the barn so that we can get a little bit of warmth going on in here. Sheep and goats seem to be doing okay. And of course the alpacas over here looking a little chilly. It is super cold even here in the barn. I don't have a thermometer in here, but we are going to kick on these heaters just to make things a little bit better for them. Waters, of course, something we're dealing with all day long. Water's here in the barn, pretty dang frosty, but still thawed out with these electric buckets, which are super handy. So I've already been dealing this morning with some well issues. We've had 2 wells that have froze here on the ranch so far this morning. Those are both back up and running. It was basically a matter of getting a heater inside the well pit that was running hot enough to be able to keep things from freezing inside those pits. Those pits are about 10 feet deep, but cold weather still gets down in there. You know, cold water or cold air drops, or however that works. So today we still have to go over. We have to check the goats, the chickens over in the chicken house. We're going to get over there and do that. Make sure that they're okay. They've got water. Food, you know, is good obviously for creating heat in animals, so we're going to make sure that everybody's got food. We're going to feed the cows today, but we're also going to take a look at some of this cold weather and how it affects certain things on the ranch. We're going to be taking a look at hydraulic fluid, diesel fuel, and of course the old experiment where you throw hot water in the air. I think I'm going to do that a little bit later. Yeah, so I guess I can't yap any longer. We've got to go outside and get something done. Okay, so frostbite at this temperature happens at about 10 minutes or so. So really I do want to limit my exposure outside as much as possible, and also I want to limit the animals' exposure outside, although they're a little well insulated, a little better insulated than we are. We're over here inside the chicken house now, and this also encloses part of the goat pen, the indoor portion of the goat pen anyway. Goats actually look pretty good. Their water may not be running. We're going to take a look at that really quick. We do have a heater in here that actually right now I have turned all the way up, trying to keep it warm enough in here for the animals. Chickens, they all look pretty good. I don't see anybody having any issues. Let's take a look inside the chicken side of the chicken house. It does look like, oh my gosh, their water is a little frozen. We're gonna have to take care of that. We've got indoor waters for them right now. Actually, I should just grab it and bring it out of here because we're gonna have to fill it up. Hey, no, chickens, no, get back in there. No, no. They all want to come out and see us. Oh, my fingers aren't working quite correctly. All right, rather than mess with this outside where it's cold, I'm gonna get the lid off of it now so I can get outside and fill this thing up. So our high today is minus 24 degrees. So this is not gonna get a whole lot better. The only thing I can really be thankful for is that the wind is not blowing, but it only takes about a 5-mile-an-hour wind to cause considerable drop in the temperature out here. So air temperature obviously pretty dang cold. We're gonna swing and take a look at the cows here before too long, see how they're doing. But first, let's get these chickens and their water taken care of. So it is literally so cold out here that hoses are frozen. In fact, I'm really kind of afraid I'm gonna break this one. Trying to get it in there. Hydrants. Let's see if we get any water. Nope. We're not getting any water out of this hydrant. Obviously, it's frozen somewhere down below, so that doesn't help us at all. We're gonna have to get water from somewhere else. We're also gonna have to grab some food for these chickens here. Turkeys are still outside. They seem to be doing okay. Hey, turkeys. They actually don't like to go into the chicken house. Can't say I really blame them. I'm gonna swipe some food for the chickens from their big 1-ton feeder here. Burr, snow. We're gonna get this in for those guys. It literally feels like 100 degrees warmer inside the chicken house, and it might actually be. Any condensation on that camera lens causes all kinds of problems. I'm also going to grab some feed for the goats here too, just because they're not going to be able to go outside today. And I'll probably just give them chicken food too. They seem to like it. So I think it'll work, right? Some calories are a good thing. You guys want a little food? Here. Have a little something to eat. And into it. And throughout the day, I'll actually be making multiple trips over here to the chicken house, to the cows, to the animals in the barn, the steers in the feedlot. Everybody gets a little bit extra attention today, and hopefully it warms up a little bit and I don't freeze. So we're gonna head back outside. I noticed there's some cows back here behind us that are, I put a bale out for them last night back here by the shed. We're gonna go back and take a really quick look at them. We're gonna head back over to the shop, and I've got a couple things to show you. It is cold, so I don't even know if chickens have laid any eggs here in the last couple days. In fact, there's not a single egg in any of the nests, which doesn't surprise me at all. The chickens are very much not happy with this whole situation. We'll get water over here for these guys in just a few. Right now I want to swing back behind the chicken house where we run into the cow shed, which is where the cows can obviously get in and out of the weather. Cows produce a massive amount of body heat, so them being inside an enclosed area actually acts much like a heater. Of course, they're all outside right now for some dumb reason. Hey gang, how y'all doing? I'm guessing their water here is probably froze also. Well, we're going to turn it on just to see. And of course, yeah, there's nothing. No water out here for these guys. Not right now anyway. They do have a bale of hay in here, but we're probably going to get them another one. And get it over to them. The water thing I'm not horribly concerned about. They're not going to drink much water when it's this cold. All it does is just cool them off even farther with the cold water. But eating is something that they have to do. So heating is something that I have to do right now. So we're going to head back into the shop. I'm going to warm up for a couple minutes and then we'll get rolling on the next part of this morning adventure. Holy. Okay. The heater kicks on as soon as I open the door. Next up, I'm going to show you guys a couple of really quick things here. Let me warm up for a minute. We'll head back outside, just outside the shop here, and take a look at how the cold weather really does affect the ranch. Okay, it's been a few minutes. I'm a little warmed up. Actually, the coldest thing are my toes. I might break down and buy a pair of electric socks this year. I don't know. We are going to head outside. A couple things I want to show you guys about how the cold weather does affect the ranch. Obviously, you've seen hydrants that aren't working. Those are going to be a project for today to get water up and going to everybody. But another problem that we have is obviously tractors and equipment and all that kind of good stuff. So as we get stuff up and rolling here this morning, there's a couple things I want to show you. To do that, we have to head outside here, which is no fun. But we're going to stop over here at the fuel tank. I've kept the tractor inside for the last few days, and that's because even at these kind of temperatures, it doesn't matter if you have cold weather diesel, it's just not going to work for you. So I can turn on our fuel pump here and grab our diesel fuel and our nozzle, and you can see we get a little bit of fuel coming out, but it's not flowing the way that it should. In fact, I can hold the nozzle all the way down and no fuel is actually coming out. That's because the fuel gels. Oh my gosh, I just broke the handle. Not really, just the plastic part on it. That's because the fuel gels and it's not going to flow, which is the same thing that's going to happen inside a tractor. Now, I know you guys have all seen the videos out there, somebody in Arizona, Southern California, it's so hot that they can fry an egg on the sidewalk. Well, I brought an egg with me, and we're not going to fry an egg, we're going to freeze one. Oh, well, that didn't work. Look at that. It just broke. Okay, there we go. Hard to crack an egg with gloves on, apparently. Broke the yolk. So if anybody wants an over easy egg or sunny sides up, you're out of luck. Okay, we're gonna let that sit there. When we come back from feeding the cows, we'll check on it and see just how frozen it is. I've also set out here, I got my four-wheeler running because I'm afraid to shut it off. I've also got out here some hydraulic fluid. This hydraulic fluid has been sitting outside for about 15 minutes. And because we want to have somewhat of a control, I've also got some hydraulic fluid that has been sitting in the shop at 45 degrees for the last 15 minutes. We're going to take a look at the difference between the two. So hydraulic fluid for the tractor is super important. And as we take a look at the difference between these two, My fingers are actually sticking to the jar. We can see this is the hydraulic fluid that's been sitting inside the shop, 45 degrees. This is the hydraulic fluid that has been outside for about 15 minutes. And we'll step right over here where we can actually see the difference as we pour it out. So you can see that's the warm 45 degree hydraulic fluid, and that is the hydraulic fluid that has been sitting outside for a few minutes. So obviously a huge difference between the two, as you can tell, and I make a mess that I'm gonna have to clean up later. So what does this mean to the tractor? And basically, you can see I've got frozen hydraulic fluid on my fingers. The tractor's been inside, and that's because we need it to feed, and we need to make sure that things are flowing with it. Unfortunately, one of the problems we have at this temperature is that you have to get things done pretty dang quick, because it does start to slow down as you're outside. The hydraulic fluid in this tractor will actually run through a heating system. Actually, it's a cooling system because hydraulic fluid gets hot as it flows, but it doesn't keep up, trust me. So we are going to head out. We got to grab a bale and get it out for the cows as quick as possible. Also, it means opening up the shop door, which means we're going to lose all of the heat that we have in here almost instantaneously, but you know, we got to get the tractor out, so what are you going to do? Propane is what heats most of our stuff here on the ranch, buildings anyways. So being able to reheat them is going to be a little bit of a taxing process on the propane, but that's okay. Tractor starts right up, that's great. Let's go feed some cows. Doesn't help much that we got to get out and open some gates. And here we can see a little bit of a breeze blowing. And the temperature is actually rising out here. The sun's shining, so that helps a little bit. My gate doesn't want to stay open. Temperature's up to about minus 25 degrees. But with that wind, we're still at a minus 50 degree wind chill. All I can say is I'm lucky the wind isn't blowing faster, and there's no snow blowing with it either. So that's a little nice, I guess, if you want to look at the bright side of things. Now you may notice behind me that we are not using the Hustler bale unroller today, and that is because of the hydraulic flow issue that we are going to have. The farther the hydraulic fluid gets from the tractor, the more it's going to solidify or gel, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. So we're better off to just leave that at home. We're going to take the tractor out, grab a bale, and get it in for the cows. We'll try to unroll it a little bit with the bucket. We'll see how well that works, but I really don't want to mess with the Hustler this morning, just because it's not going to want to flow either. So trying to eliminate problems as I can, because I'm going to have plenty of them today. Hydraulics aren't holding up too bad in the tractor right now. Everything seems to be moving pretty well. We've been out here for probably, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe, so not a bad deal so far. We do have to jump out, cut our net wrap, and get this bale ready to feed. I can feel it. I think as the temperature rises, the wind's starting to kick up a little bit more. Feels a little breezier out here than it did earlier. Either that or I'm just getting tired of this. This is where I'm going to get a little lazy. I'm actually going to leave the net wrap on the bottom of the bale. I'm going to pick the bale up. Hopefully it leaves the net wrap here on the ground. I can come deal with that later when it's a little nicer. Our net wrap there on the ground. It's got a little bit of hay still on it, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. And now we'll head back to the cows, try to unroll this for them a little bit so that they've got access to it, kind of like a free access type thing, where they can line up. They're not just squished around one single bale. Cows obviously pretty hungry, it looks like. They're ready for some food. I'm actually going to bring this down pretty close to the shed so that they can eat, go inside, get out of the wind if they need to. I have a feeling the wind is probably going to pick up a little bit today, especially as it warms up. And I know that most people associate these kind of temperatures with blizzards and all that kind of stuff that can happen. But honestly, I think it's too cold to snow. I think that just precipitation is not going to work at this temperature. So not a bad, I was going to say it's not a bad thing. I guess it is what it is. It's thermodynamics or something. All right, we are going to drop this bale strategically somehow over here by the shed. Got quite a few more cows that are hanging out back in here. The smart ones anyway, that didn't go chasing after me. I'm just going to drop this bale. Oh wow, our hydraulics are moving much slower now. But what we can do is kind of use our bucket to push this bale out, unroll it a little bit, so that the cows can get to it. You don't want to hit any cows, that's kind of an important thing. Okay, that's about as good as we're going to get it. We did manage to get it rolled out pretty good. Hydraulics moving much slower now. We've been out in the tractor here for about 10 minutes. Plenty long enough for hydraulics start to get cold. So we're going to go park the tractor. We're going to check on our egg. And then we're going to head across the road. We have to look at the steers in the feedlot, make sure they're okay, and make sure they've got food. I probably won't take any of our grain rations over to them right now. They've got hay to eat, but because the tractor is starting to slow down, and usually I use the tractor for that, I'm going to let the tractor kind of warm up for a little bit. So we're going to head over to the steers once we get the tractor put away. The tractor, by the way, uses hydraulic not only to run the bucket, but also steering is involved with the hydraulics as well. So steering can start to feel a little sluggish. Braking is hydraulic. I mean, everything in these tractors is relying on that hydraulic fluid. So keeping it at somewhat of a working temperature is pretty dang important. But I don't think we're going to have any problems with that today. We're just going to go put it away, let it warm back up. The cows, they look happy. I'm not gonna say they're not cold. I know that this kind of temperature would affect any animal. It definitely affects me, but I think just their behavior this morning shows me that they're keeping warm. They're staying out of the wind, which, like I said, is picking up, and feeding them close to the barn definitely helps also. You can see them up there on the hill. They're all gathered around the food now, eating that food. Helps them stay warm. Of course, for myself and the tractor, a nice warm shop helps do that too. Okay, ready to go back outside? It's been about 15 minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes. We're gonna go out here, we're gonna check on our egg before we head over to the steers and make sure that they're okay. All the other cows seem to be in the shed. They're all good to go. I've got my handy dandy spatula here, and we're gonna head outside. Like I said, 10 or 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, wow. And our egg did not fry, although it is frozen solid. If anybody if anybody wants a sandwich this morning, let me know. Okay, across the road we go. One more experiment. We'll check on the steers, and then I'll let you guys go inside and warm up. All right, so here we are over here at the feedlot finishing school. These guys actually look pretty dang good. The A team, the B team. The B team does have access to the shed right now. I may open up the gate so that everybody can go in the shed if it starts to pick up wind a little bit. Their water is okay. Everything looks perfectly fine. And I'll get over here and feed these guys here in just a little bit. We've got a lot of water problems to take care of still. In fact, I've got another hydrant here. Let's check and see if this one's working. Oh, that one is working. Well, that's good to know. That's one that I don't have to mess around with. But I do have one last experiment to take care of today, and that is the age-old experiment of a mug of hot water and what it does out here in the cold. Minus 30 degrees or whatever it is right now. Wind chill's still about minus 50. Like I said, wind is picking up. Not much fun. Let me grab my mug of hot water and I'll meet you back out here. And we'll see what happens. Okay. I also had to change batteries because, you know, batteries and cameras don't like cold weather. Okay, so this is a cup of boiling hot water. It just came out of the microwave or out of the tea kettle, and my hope is that it dissipates before it even hits the ground. That's usually what's supposed to happen. And then I'm going to take this mug and fill it up with hot coffee because I'm going to go inside and warm up a little bit. Everybody looks okay, so let's just get this done before it cools off too much. You ready? Here we go. Wow, and that's gone. Wow, I hope you guys could see that because I'm not going to do it again. Okay, that's it for me, guys. It is too dang cold out here. I've got a lot to do today still, in between warming up and drinking some coffee. Everything looks to be okay. Animals are fine. That's the most important thing. Waters will get going, and yeah. So make sure you subscribe, follow along as we explore the ranch life, escape the ordinary, because this is, well, it kind of looks like this is what it's going to be for a little while. So hit that little bell button so you get notified when new videos come out. And I'll see you next time right here on Our Siberian Life. No, it's Our Wyoming Life.